think you're doing? Why are you celebrating? Your work isn't done yet. Just because you've finished animating and your characters look alive, it doesn't mean that your animation is done. You still have post-production to do. What? You don't know what post-production is? It's when you put together all the elements, audio and video, to complete your animation. At this point, everything must come together. Let's see where we are. You've finished compositing and they must now be locked off and put on tape. These scenes will be called rushes. You've double-checked for errors like continuity, character movements, background colors, and are correcting them, doing retakes. You're now getting ready for editing your animation. There are two types of editing, linear and non-linear. Linear editing was done in the days before computers, where editors cut film prints and put them together manually. If they had to make any changes at any point, say, in the middle part, they would have to adjust the timing of the whole movie from where they made revisions up until the end. Non-linear editing is done with computers. With this, the editor can make changes on parts of the film without having to worry about fixing succeeding parts. In non-linear editing, we start by putting all the necessary files into the computer. This process is called ingesting. It is best to carefully sort out and organize all these files at this stage. This will make the whole editing process more efficient because the editor knows where all the files are supposed to be. To help him even more, you can already put the scenes in order according to the script. Syncing these to the dialogue track that you've recorded earlier.
Di naman totoo sinasabi nila, di ba, Rambo? Nanloloko lang sila.
The editor's job is to tighten the cut of the animation. He creates the right pace and makes sure that the storytelling is working. He works with the scenes, cutting and adding elements to bring out what was envisioned in the planning stage. After making the first cut, the editor gets feedback from the director and the producer. He edits again based on the input he received. The editor then makes a fine cut or timing lock. That means no more editing can be done after this because the timing of the movie is locked off. It's important to lock off your edit because the final music mix might not match the images when you combine them later on. The next stage is making the sound design. Sound design is more than just the dialogue you've recorded earlier. It is the sound effects, the Foley, music, and of course, the dialogue. As the director, you meet up with your soundman and decide on the treatment of the sound effects, Foley, and the music. What kind of music fits the images? What mood are you trying to create with your music? When you've decided on the sound treatment, you should have samples of sound effects, Foley, and music that you want. And you give these to your soundman, who will start looking for and composing the needed sounds. Sound effects are important in making the world you created look and sound real. In real life, every action you do has a sound that goes along with it. Your senses are used to images accompanied by sounds. When putting in sound effects for your animations, you make the visuals more believable, convincing the audience that what they are seeing is real. Watch this scene. Doesn't it feel unusual? Watch it again. Notice how everything seems real when you have the background noises and sound effects put in? Foley does the same job as sound effects. Body movements create sounds, like the person scratching himself, a person's clothes rustling as he walks, a cat walking on a cement floor, a person sitting down on a leather sofa. Foley artists record these sounds, but oftentimes they have to recreate these using unexpected methods. Like a horse galloping. Capturing this sound might get the Foley artist trampled on, and so he does the next best thing. Galloping coconuts. While sound effects in Foley make your imaginary world become real, music helps you tell the story, adding emotions and mood to a scene. There are two ways of creating music for your animation. One is the low-budget way, when you make music that revolves around a theme, and you use this music for key points in the animation. And the other is the a lot of budget way, where music is made after the animation has been locked off. Each composition is specific for each scene, making the end result even better. The final step in making sound design is determining if there is a need for ADR. ADR means automated dialogue replacement. It means recording additional voices for scenes or characters that were not in the script, or re-recording existing dialogue because the original ones might be of poor quality at certain points. Sometimes, the director might want to change the delivery of a line and will request an ADR. To make sure that the re-recorded dialogue is still in sync with the locked-off video, the voice actor must watch this while doing the re-recording. Next step in sound design is putting all of the elements, sound effects, Foley, music, and dialogue together in one track. This track will be called the final mix, where it will be combined with the final edit of the animation. The sound editor puts together the final mix. He makes sure that the audio levels are adjusted. He asks himself some questions. Is the music drowning out the dialogue? Is the Foley drowning out the other sounds? The director listens to the final mix, giving the sound editor some instructions. The mix is then saved as a single sound file. Next up is making the online edit of the animation. All retakes are plugged in. Opening and closing credits are made. And we combine the final mix with this online edit to make the final master. One last viewing with the director and producer. Some minor tweaking. And you're done with your very first animation. Woohoo! Now it's really time to celebrate. Yay! Bring out the confetti! But wait, before you record your masterpiece onto tape or have it printed to film, make an elements reel first. This elements reel will have the separate generic elements of your animation. Saved in different files are the final mix, online edit, and opening and closing credits. This will make making changes easier later on when you modify things like adding subtitles. And then you can finally party! Woohoo! Go on, pat yourself on the back. You've made your very first animation. Now, go and make your second.